want to quickly get your thoughts on Mo Salah, because he scored yet another double just days after becoming the fastest Liverpool player to reach 100 Premier League goals at the weekend. Is he a player, Trevor, that perhaps isn't lauded enough?
I've said it before, Natalie. I think he's outstanding. I feel there's been a little bit of criticism the way he goes down at times under challenges. But in general, you look at his numbers, you look at what he brings to that Liverpool side. He's not even playing as a number 9. He's playing as a right winger, a left-footed right winger. I think he's one of the best we've had. Cutting in on that left side, you can almost visualise it and just putting it into that far corner. The amount of goals he's scored in the short amount of games, I think it tells its own story. He is class. He came in. I think there was a little bit of doubt about whether he could do it at Liverpool, because it's quite a harsh club to be able to do it at because of what they've done in the past. There's a big responsibility and expectation, but I think he's been excellent. And I know he's going through contract talks at the moment, or I believe he's going through contract talks at the moment. And I said it early on, I would break the bank to keep him at the football club because he's that effective for the club.
Is he someone, though, do you think that perhaps Simon has kind of got lost because he's part of a front three, and that's why we don't big him up as much as others?
I think he's a good player and a good side. If you watched his form dip in the same way that the rest of the side dipped during that period of time last year when the rails came right off, he was out of sorts as well. So I think he's a good player and a good... It's unarguable, his performance, the outcome, the end result, which is the goals that he scores that wins games. The histrionics that we have to watch and the going down like he's been shot out of the scene of Platoon are things that people don't like. And I think he holds himself in great value because he's the one that's negotiating for £500,000 a week for the extension on his contract.
Is that fact?
Well, anything that we hear is laced with an element of understanding, misrepresentation, and probably a bit of substance. Until someone signs a contract, you're in the area of conjecture, aren't you? But I think people understand what people want to get paid. I think they look at themselves in a certain bracket. And we ran a sort of rule of thumb over it. What's it going to cost to replace him against what it would cost him to give him more dough? And it makes more sense probably to give him this outlandish amount of money that allegedly he's been asking for. And his agents will plant it out there because they want to start the movement towards leveraging Liverpool into giving it. He's an outstanding player, but I think he's an outstanding player in a good side, and that could be said about a lot of top players. Is he lost? No, I don't think so. I think Firmino's lost because his value is diminished by some people looking at him and saying, well, he doesn't score enough goals, but he's an integral part of a Liverpool side. But Salah gets the goals. And Salah gets the goals in a side that's probably built perfectly for him, given the way that they play and the position that he occupies. Wouldn't normally score that amount of goals in that space of time, would it, Trev?
No, and when you've won the Premier League for the first time in 30 years and you're the top goal scorer at the football club every year you've been there, I think the fans realise how important he is, and that's why they laud him. He is the A-side in that front three, and I would say all the fans want him to sign his new contract and stay at the club.
Is he as adored as someone like Luis Suarez at Liverpool?
Luis Suarez was one of my favourite players in the Premier League because he was cheeky, he'd nutmeg you with a smile on his face, and then he'd dink the keeper. I don't think Salah's got that kind of creativity.
And he put it about as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was a bit I don't think Mo Salah's got that kind of personality. But like what Simon just touched on there, when you look at the numbers and how quickly he's got to them numbers, and you look at the trophy cabinet, I think they're the two key things for me. He's done it quicker than most at Liverpool, and he's also won the Champions League, they're 6th, and he's won the Premier League, the first in 30 years. So I feel you have to give him his credit. He's a top player.
I mean, where's that narrative coming from that somehow Suarez was more adored than Salah? Where are we picking that particular?
Well, I think just yesterday, I mean, he's not a fan necessarily, but Peter Crouch was bigging up Luis Suarez over Mo Salah, for example.
Well, I can understand the preference. I can understand the preference.
Michael Owen was saying exactly the same
because of the way that Suarez
goes
played,
about his business, yeah.
and the time he was at the football club. It was a time where they weren't winning things as regularly as they are now.
But surely that would make Salah more adored because Liverpool were in a vacuum of winning Champions League, not, but the Premier League, they hadn't won it in its history. So for Salah to be an instrumental part in achieving something that Liverpool fans were desperate and a generation of Liverpool fans hadn't seen should actually put him on a stage where he is more loved because he is an integral part to that. So I think, whether Peter Crouch particularly likes the style of play that Luis Suarez had. I mean, I'm a great admirer of Suarez because...
I think it was the fun that he came with as well.
Yeah, and there were some other sides that didn't come,
as well.
Didn't come, wouldn't go around biting people and other stuff that, he was involved in doing. But he was a great player, and so is Mo Salah.
But I suppose maybe with the Suarez situation, when he was at Liverpool, he was the star player. He was the one that shone. And I'm not saying that Mo Salah doesn't shine, because obviously he does. He is consistent at pretty much every season. But he's one of a number of players that shines.
Or maybe they look at this team and they're so successful that they want to try and give a little bit more credit to players of the past, because this team are actually rewriting the rules for themselves, and they're the first team to win the Premier League. And they haven't got any connection to these players. So that's why they look back at the players like Suarez, who I think played with a few of the boys. Maybe they look at them and more...
Or maybe they're equally as embarrassed as we are with his histrionics.
Well, you raised the interesting point just before there, Simon, about is it true that actually Suarez is adored more than Mo Salah? And maybe Liverpool listeners can put us right, Liverpool fans. Let us know. You can give us a call, 08717 22 3344. You can also text us at 81089 or tweet us at talkSPORT. Let us know. Is it Mo Salah that you favour now, or is it Luis Suarez that is always in your heart? We'd love to know here at talkSPORT.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning 10 till 1 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.